All right, we're using a tool here called GTmetrix at gtmetrix.com. It's a free tool. They have a paid plan, but you can just run a quick report on any site or page you have. What I did was I generated this performance report. Obviously, page speed score of an F at 27% is not something that people like to see very often, where it says the average page speed is 72%. So first things first, 72%. How many sites do we go to that are just blogs or just a single page site? They don't have a ton of things going on. They don't have recommendations and reviews and third party analytics and all these things going into it. So you got to take that in consideration that you're being pinned up against a lot of others. But let's dive into it. Minimize redirects. Let's pop that open. Do you recognize any of these things that would have to do with Crocs.com? Good chances are nope, you've never seen these before in your life, and I don't know where they're coming from, and I'm going to lose my job if I don't figure out how to minimize these redirects. Um, let's just hold off on talking about that for a second. Let's keep going. Leverage browser caching. Do you recognize any of these? Maybe you do. Oh, here's some Adobe stuff. Maybe these are some JavaScript libraries you use. Oh, here's images. Yeah, these are the images we use on our site. Oh, yeah, it's only good for an hour and 27 minutes or an hour and 41 minutes. And why is that? Um, if I click through, what's going to happen? Why don't I have a longer cache on that? Combine images using CSS sprites. These are all images that could be, these are all swatches that could be put into a single file and modified through CSS. Um, is that feasible for you as a company? Maybe, maybe not. You just have to weigh that. Um, in a previous article I wrote on day 7, we talked about lazy loading. Would this even be an issue if we had lazy loaded these in? Would it be screaming at us if we had done that? Minimize request size. Um, some of these have a request size that's fairly large. Um, this one here, this is actually their analytics with usually C quotient for Demandware, aka Salesforce Commerce Cloud. C quotient, again, Commerce Cloud, all these are Commerce Cloud. Analytics, a lot of C quotient. Here's more metrics type stuff. Um, this they'll talk about cookieless domains, right? So why do I need to send all the cookies for an icon or a JPEG? And sometimes you can control that, and sometimes you can't. So let's close this one up and keep moving. Optimize images. Now we've talked about this a ton, and there's really no excuse to have an F for optimize images. But let's take a look. They have this free icons guarantee. They could save 18K if they were to reduce it. And what's nice about this is you can actually click this and get the optimized version. And this is the image, and this is the optimized version. So yeah, if I were to save that out, it'd be a lot smaller. Again, you can go through here and see which ones you're responsible for and which ones are being brought in from third parties. A lot of these are crocs.com or images.crocs.com, and so there's really no excuse for Crocs to not optimize their images. Let's talk about enable compression. Do you have any control over these? Probably not. Defer parsing of JavaScript. Maybe, maybe not. Um, that's really up for you and your developers to decide. But an F rating is only as good as your evaluation of the data. If you don't go in there and figure out what's going on and what you're responsible for and what you can control, that F is fine if everything is out of your control. Uh, and as long as you've done everything you can for your due diligence to make it better. I won't go through all of these, but I will tell you that GTmetrix is a great little tool. You can also use the Yahoo's Why Slow. It's a lot of the same type of information, like use a content delivery network, you know, and sometimes it doesn't recognize them as CDNs. and so this actually score would be much higher if you put your data in. Some of these things, aren't really as useful as they used to be, but uh, it gives you great insight. So there's also the waterfall that you probably see through Yahoo or any other um, developer tool. Timings. You can actually do a video if you want to sign in and pay for certain things. I love the history feature though. Every time you load a site, and you can go back in history and see your performance over time. How was I today? How am I tomorrow? I made this one change. How does it affect? It gives you some indication that you're doing a good job. I'll leave it at that. Um, if you got questions, leave some comments, and we'll talk about it.